And I got mine going as well. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 23 of Arknolia and the Doctor's Music Memories program. And tonight we're going to be doing the top 20 lists of both the Rolling Stones and the Who.
Right.
Yeah.
The number two and number three of the British invasion.
Yep. No, I guess you could say the Big British Three. I guess you could say from the 1950s. Number one being the Beatles, the Stones being the number two, and the third one being the Who. There.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Kinks are close,
And
but they're a little bit back there because they, for some reason, didn't really get as popular in the U.S. as they should have.
I
I
know.
mean, they were popular, but they weren't. They weren't
Massively,
on the level of the others.
massively popular as the big three that we mentioned there.
Right.
You know. Yeah. So, and later, of course, later on, towards the end of the program, there's a little something I wanted to discuss that I was reading online last night. When I was out and about there, and it concerns a well-known reality celebrity out there. Divorcing her husband because to keep, well, basically it was for the sake of her children and for her own sanity. And we will get to that subject later on this evening there. But
Right.
go ahead and you could start off your list there, Arknolia, with
Okay. I was thinking about starting with the Stones because
yes.
uh, it, my favorite of the two is the Who,
Oh yeah,
and I wanted to start with the Stones and then go to the Who.
yeah. And I would have to say, if there was a bid, I would pick two out of the three. Would be the Beatles and the Who, because the Beatles when they first started out, they were like very raunchy, and the
Right.
Who continued to be raunchy year after year after year. They became even
Exactly.
more raunchy in the 1970s. There,
Yeah.
yeah. And in fact, I remember saying this on a couple of programs ago that it's safe to say that the Who were probably one of the first punk rock bands out there.
Yeah. And in a way, heavy metal, but
Yeah,
not to the extent of heavy metal.
yeah,
They
but
were kind of a semi pre. A lot of these groups were kind of precursors for what became
heavy metal,
uh, right. The Who were there, the
the hard
Yardbirds
rock.
kind of,
I mean,
but the Yardbirds are more of a psychedelic band.
yeah, and fits to say that without the Stones, bands like Guns N' Roses would not exist.
Probably not.
Yeah,
So that's the thing about these early bands that people say, "Oh, I don't like them; they're old." Well, if it wasn't for them, your bands wouldn't be there.
yeah,
So think about that and remember that's a lot of times they kind of come from the. It's all progressive. It's just like we were talking about classical big band and all that. Without
yeah,
all of that, we wouldn't have had the '60s. So it all kind of flows, and
yeah,
that's why it's important to know a little bit about all of it.
yeah. What up, the redneck in the chat here? If you want to come on the program later on, feel free to. We'll add you in.
Yeah. Basically, I've got top 20 of the early Stones and top 20 of the later Stones. And on the Who, I got top 15 of the early and the later.
Yes, and
But I'll get started with the early Stones. I got number 20, a song called Surprise, Surprise.
mm-hmm.
That's a pretty decent little song. Well, it wouldn't be if it wasn't on my list. But, I wouldn't put it on my list if I didn't like it. Be
Yes,
kind of dumb. Be kind of dumb. Number 19 I got is a song called What a Shame.
yes, mm-hmm. And what a shame, and almost sounds like "Ain't That a Shame," the Fats Domino song there.
Yeah, but they're different.
Yeah, very different in titles and in styles, I guess.
Yeah. Number 18 I got is Play with Fire, which was a B-side of one of their singles, but I don't remember which one.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, 17 I'm looking for. There it is. Get off my. No, that's not right.
Oh, I was gonna say "Get Off of My Cloud."
There it is.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm having trouble reading my writing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Time Is on My Side.
Oh, yeah, one of the classics there. That's one of the big ones up there.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
It
Well,
is,
like
you
I
know,
said.
played a lot of times at the radio that I remember years back.
And number 16, I got Let's Spend the Night Together, which has got its own famous little thing.
Yep, exactly.
We talked about that in Ed Sullivan.
Yeah, I said when they did that song on the Ed Sullivan Show, they had to change the title to "Let's Spend Some Time Together" because this was about a one night stand for one might take it there.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, one of the things that music liked to be was ambiguous. Yeah, because it kind of gets played if it's ambiguous. If it's not ambiguous and it's pretty clear back then, it didn't get played.
Yes.
Okay, number 15, Out of Time. Number 14, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Number 14, Lady Jane.
And that sounds good. And let me guess, that was about the weed, right?
I honestly don't know what that song was
Yeah,
about.
I may be wrong because a lot of time, I believe I'm thinking of Mary Jane, but I'm thinking the lady. But you said Lady Jane, I kind of like got the two confused there.
Right. Yeah, I don't listen for the hidden meanings in songs. I just listen to them, and if I like them, I like them. And I do listen to the lyrics. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I will listen to the lyrics, but generally speaking, I like a song because of the way it sounds and things of that nature. To me, it's just a little more. I don't know. That's kind of what I listen for. I'm not listening for hidden meanings or anything of that nature.
I usually don't until I find out about it until it was
Yeah.
written up in the press, and then I try to find it myself. I say, "Oh, there it is. Now I get it now."
Yeah. That's kind of what I look for in a song more than anything. Number 13, is that where I am? Yeah. As Tears Go By, which actually they wrote it for Marianne Faithfull. She recorded it, and for some reason they felt like, you know what?
Let's record it ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what they did. And said, hey, you know what? Let's do it ourselves. Now, I don't think they released that as a single, but I'm not sure about
But
that.
it did. But it did get played on a lot of radio back in the day there.
Yeah, and then number 15 is Get Off My Cloud.
Yeah, great song. I still hear that. I was earlier on this past weekend when I was at that Goodwill store. One of the things I heard through the loudspeaker was that song. It kind of reminded me when I first started listening to rock and roll radio, and that they were playing all sorts of stuff there, new stuff, old stuff, that stuff, this stuff there. It was a lot more diverse back then, whereas back in the 80s it was either new wave or hard rock or funk music or this and that.
Yeah, and usually in a Goodwill store and anything of that nature, you're generally going to hear old rock and roll.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is, but that's just what they do.
I know. It's like, but then again, it kind of beats the old Value World stores back in around the southeast area of Michigan, where they would play all this adult contemporary stuff from the radio.
Right. Number 11, I got Heart of Stone.
Heart of Stone. I don't think I've heard that one there.
Oh, it was a single. All you got to do is find it, listen to it, and you'll go, oh, yeah, I know that song.
All right.
I mean, a lot of times that's what you're going to find when you hear a song, you go, I don't remember the song. You listen to it, oh, yeah.
I
mean,
see,
that's, yeah. And number 10, I got Tell Me, which was one of their early big hits.
All right.
Number 9, I got Not Fade Away, which is a Buddy Holly cover.
Yeah, I remember hearing that as well there.
And number 8, where'd you go? Number 8, I know you're on the sheet somewhere. Oh, there you go. Have you seen your mother, baby, standing in the shadows?
I remember that one. That was played a lot on the radio in the yesteryears. That was an interesting song to hear.
Yeah, and that's a pretty long title too, because that's the entire title.
I remember, yes.
A lot of people just go by "Have you seen your mother, baby?" But "Standing in the Shadows" is part of the title.
Yep, that was the part that, yep, it was.
Number 7, I got Ruby Tuesday, which I'm pretty sure everybody's heard before.
Absolutely. I remember hearing that a lot as well.
Number 6, I got Paint It Black, which is actually another anti-war song.
Oh, yeah, really? I never knew that.
Yeah. And number 5 is going to surprise people because it's number 1 on a lot of places, but I got Satisfaction as my number 5.
Ah, probably one of the main songs that biggest songs he ever did.
Yeah, I have it there because I hear it all the time. I mean, it's a case of you're overplaying it. Please don't overplay it.
But they
I
can't
mean, I
help
like
it
the
because,
song a lot
but then again, it's
because
hard.
everybody wants to hear it.
Yeah, they do. It's probably one of the biggest songs to this very day.
Yeah. Well, I think it was number 1 at one time of the Rolling Stone, which those people a lot of times don't know what they're talking about, but in this case they do.
Yeah.
I think it was number 1 of all the the early rock songs or whatever.
Yep.
I don't recall what chart it was.
I think it was the top 20 songs of the 60s or the top Stones songs, I guess you would say.
Yeah, pretty much. But it was it's always high on virtually any list of that nature.
Mm. Going back to Painted Black, that's probably one of the most well-respected, Stone songs respected by the goth rock community.
Yeah.
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 Next to Sympathy for the Devil.
Right.
Because there were a lot of goth bands. I remember hearing at the Labyrinth, which was the underground club back in Detroit, where me and my old girlfriend used to go to. There were many bands who would cover that song, a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And for them, I guess it had a little different meaning.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Number 4, I got The Last Time.
Good song there. I remember hearing that song a lot of times there. In fact, that's probably one of my favorites from that era there. I guess it's safe to say there. Next to a 19th Nervous Breakdown.
Yeah. Number 3, I got Mother's Little Helper.
Oh yeah, about a woman who's she doesn't like growing old, so she's feeling all this anxiety, and so she starts popping pills, as a relief.
Right. Right. And number 2, I think, there it is, 19th Nervous Breakdown.
I am.
That's a great little song.
Yeah, it is. As a matter of fact, I remember. You remember the band Jason and the Scorchers?
Yeah.
Yes, I remember seeing them do their version, a live version of that song on some cable program. I think it was on Showtime or whatever it was, or HBO. But I remember doing that song, and he did it pretty damn well there.
Yeah, that's another decent little song. They actually didn't get onto an album until they released some of their greatest hit stuff.
Yeah, pretty good song, about. I guess it's a song about a person with a lot of anxieties, heading towards another mental breakdown, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Of course, we can speculate about some of them, and that's what I said I like about some of this is it can be ambiguous and let you put your own meaning in it.
Yep. But then again, we don't have Mick and Keith on the line here, so they can tell us the true meaning, so we have no choice but to speculate.
Right, exactly. And that's the fun of it. And that's the fun of 60s music as opposed to nowadays. Nowadays, it's all pretty cut and clear what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
But back then, it was ambiguous.
Yeah,
and that's what made it interesting.
It's kind of funny is that when you listen, let me give you an example of some of the meanings of the two particular different songs. Me So Horny and Saving All My Love From You from Whitney Houston. Now, we all know it's Me So Horny like the back of our hand. It's out there. It's way out there. People are condemning that song. It's influencing kids to have sex at a young age, blah, 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 blah. But then again, you also have "Saving All My Love for You" by Whitney Houston, which is about infidelity.
Right. Like I said, the ambiguous songs seem to get away with stuff a lot better than the
It did, yeah,
out there songs.
yeah,
And my
absolutely.
number one may be a surprise, but I've always liked this song a lot. It's All Over Now.
I remember that
It's
song. Yes.
it's got great guitar licks in it. I mean, it just that I think that's what snared me. It just got some great guitar going on in that
And you
particular
know what?
song.
Anybody who's just called off a relationship, could identify it well with that song.
Yep, yep, yeah. But I used to love her,
Yeah.
but it's all over now.
Yeah. Now today it was I used to love her, but I had to kill her. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. This is true. This is true.
That's true as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I did a top 20 of everything from Satanic Majesties on.
Hmm.
Number 20, I got Angie.
Great
Like the song.
song.
Nice
Great
ballad.
song. Great song there. And I guess it was about I guess from what I understand, it was about the ending of a romantic fling that Mick had with Angie Bowie. From what I understand there.
Yeah, probably so. That a lot of singers or a lot of artists will write songs about either past loves, current loves, loves they wish they had,
Yep.
whatever. I mean, we could almost devote a whole show to that.
Yeah, we definitely gotta talk about that one because God knows and how many there were.
Well, I saw somewhere that Patty Boyd had 3 different songs written about her.
Wow, that's
So,
something there.
Layla, something by George Harrison, and there was another George Harrison song, but I can't recall which one it was. It was written about her.
Oh wow.
No, Eric Clapton. Wonderful Tonight was about her.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember reading about. Yeah, I remember hearing about. She was. I guess I guess what it was is that it was also about. You know, they were going to a party or something like that, and I guess he wrote down as saying, "You don't need to worry. You look great tonight." Such and such. There.
Right.
Yeah.
And just went ahead and wrote the song,
Yep.
which is probably his biggest song.
Yeah. Probably one of the most well recognized ballads next to "Tears in Heaven."
Yeah, yeah.
And we know the
Number,
sad meaning of that song there.
yeah, yeah. Number 19, I got Brown Sugar.
Oh yeah, which is about again being sexually involved with a black chick.
Yeah, yeah. Number 18, I got Monkey Man, which is off the Let It Bleed album.
I
That's a
remember.
nice
Yeah,
little.
I had that album as well.
And then number 17, I got Let It Bleed.
Oh yeah, the song "Let It Bleed," by the way, there. And
Yeah,
that was the album cover itself was one of the most stripped out covers there. I mean, like, damn.
yeah. That was one weird cover.
Yeah, it was, but it was most interesting. A lot of rock album covers back in that day were pretty innovative.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Unlike some of the
yeah.
stuff, unlike some of the album covers of today, which is kind of like boring, which is kind of just not that interesting.
Well, it was like the I don't know if you ever got it or not, but the Rolling Stones Sticky Fingers album
Oh
actually had a
yes,
working zipper on it.
yes, I remember hearing about that. Yes, and I don't know if the when it was reissued on CD or vinyl, but
Well,
if they actually put an actual new zipper on the reissues there.
maybe the vinyl, but definitely not the CD because it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, that's true. Unless you had to find a very small zipper to go on with it.
Right. Yeah. Number 16, I got is No Expectations, which is off of, gosh, I can't remember the name of the album.
Hmm. Goat's Head
But
Soup.
it's the same with, no, it's the same one with Sympathy for the Devil.
Oh, Beggar's Banquet.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
15 is Sympathy for the Devil.
Oh yeah, probably covered by Motorhead, Guns N' Roses, and there was this one artist who went by the name of the Phantom, who did his like kind of like a scary AMSR version there. I gotta find it
Right.
sometime there, but from what I understand, it was a very scary version of that track.
Yeah. And number 14 I got is Jumping Jack Flash, which was a pretty big song for them. And then number 13, I'm going to delve a little bit into probably my favorite album of them, Satanic Majesties. I've got The Lantern,
Wow.
which is an interesting little song. It does some great stereo tricks. That's one you need to listen to with headphones.
Uh-huh.
There are a few songs like that floating around.
Yep.
Number 12, I got Tumbling Dice, which was actually covered by Linda Ronstadt, too.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember hearing that version, believe it or not.
And then 11 I got is an album cut, Time Waits for No One.
Yeah, I remember hearing that as well. That's from It's Only Rock and Roll, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
I like that song.
I know
why.
a lot of people didn't really a lot of Christian fundamentalists, came down on them because of the album cover. Here Comes the Stones being praised like Jesus or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Number 10, I got Wild Horses.
Great song. Great ballad there
Absolutely.
as well. Also from the Sticky Fingers album.
Yep. Number 9 is Midnight Rambler.
Great
Nice
song. One
little,
of one of my favorites from the Let It Bleed album. Because it was
great little rocker.
when I listened to first heard that with the echo in the background of the harmonica towards the little bridge there where they slow down, it kind of reminded me. It kind of gives you the feel that you're outside near a railroad track somewhere.
And the ironic thing about that song is I actually like the live version a little bit better.
I heard that though from the Get Your Ya-Ya's Out album there. I remember
Right.
hearing that as well. I enjoyed that version as well there.
Okay, then where did I leave off? That was number 9. Number 8, Honky Tonk Women.
Mm-hmm. Yes, which is a flip side of You Can't Always Get What You Want. I had that single.
Yeah, and actually that was never put on an album except for one of the greatest hits albums.
Ah. Because that song later did get played on radio a few times there in classic rock stations.
Number 7, I got She's a Rainbow, which is also off Satanic Majesties.
Nice song there. She comes in colors everywhere.
Great, yep. Number 6, I got the 2000 Man, which Kiss covered, but is also off Satanic Majesties.
Wow.
And I do prefer the Stones version.
That Satanic Majesties album, that must have did for a lot of bands later on throughout the years.
Yeah. It's a lot of people say it was a copy of Sgt. Pepper, but it was only 2 months between the releases, so they might have been influenced, but they didn't copy it by any means.
It's kind of funny you kind of mentioned that. You remember the album by Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention called
We're only in it for the money.
Yeah, it was not only a spoof of, it was actually the cover of that album was not only a spoof of Sgt. Pepper of there's the Rolling Stones album as well, because you see on the Stones cover they're kind of like wearing little gowns and stuff like that, like
Right.
witch gowns, which is what magicians usually wear there. So it has the Zappa and the Mothers wearing all these dresses and shit.
And the original album, when it was released, had I don't know what you'd call it, but it was kind of an embossed type cover.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, it wasn't straight up paper or cardboard or whatever.
Oh.
It's interesting. If you can find it, you need to take a look at
One
it.
of those hologram, photos, I guess it was.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah. And number 5 I got is Dandelion, which was another song that was a single that didn't get put on an album. But for some reason, I really like that song. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 is Gimme Shelter, which is an iconic song by them.
Absolutely. A lot of people came down on it because they thought they were talking about heroin there being the shelter. Because, it's just a shot away. It's just a shot away.
Yeah, Grand Funk covered that in real well, I thought.
Also, the Sisters of Mercy, one of Britain's most well-respected goth rock bands, they did a version of that song for one of their singles around the early 80s there. I remember that being played at the City Club back in Detroit back in the day there.
And number three for me is you can't always get what you want.
Yep. Which is true. Which is very true.
And yeah, number two is off of Sticky Fingers, the little rocker they called "Can't You Hear Me Knocking."
I remember that as well. Yeah, it was a rocking song, and then it goes into this jazz, tempo there, with the saxophone playing and everything.
Yeah, and my number one is off the Satanic Majesties is 2,000 Light Years from Home.
Classic
To me,
song.
that was
That was
absolutely spacey.
absolutely, man. The mellotron on that track was phenomenal.
A very
Phenomenal
good
on that
song.
one there. Absolutely there. One of my favorites there. I was looking at the various covers of Sympathy for the Devil, and there was a lot, man. So that's probably one of the big Stone song that really gets close up there to Yesterday by the Beatles. That covered a lot. I mean, Brian Ferry covered it for one of his solo records. Guns N'
Wow.
Roses did that song, as I mentioned. Ozzy Osbourne did it for his Undercover album. A band called Freedom Dub did their version. Blood, Sweat, and Tears. David Bryce. Um,
Oh,
some
that's
artists
right. I
don't.
forgot about the Blood, Sweat, and Tears. But yeah, I remember that now.
Yes, Motorhead, as I mentioned as well. An industrial group called Liebach did their version there. Andy Taylor, I don't know if it's a guy from. I think it's a guy from Duran Duran. The Thrashing Doves, Ricky Lee Jones. Let's see here. There's about. Let's see here.
Sounds like a lot of them.
Absolutely, man. Buffalo Bob and the Wrinkle Stars, Jackie Robinson, Ian Stewart Donaldson, a group called The Attack, the London Sympathy Orchestra, and the Electric Hellfire Club, which is an industrial band featuring a former member of the Thrill Kill cult there. The band Time, um, Def SS, Beelzebubs, Screw, the band Screw, Jailbirds. Let's see here. There's a few more here I got to go here. Damn, son of a bitch, dude. Oh yeah,
A lot of them.
Taja Sabil from the 2003. She was one time a Prince protege. Believe it or
Wow.
not, there. So that song has really that I guess to say it's up there next to the Beatles yesterday in most covered songs of all time, I guess.
Yeah, probably so. And actually, by the Beatles, Michelle used to get covered a lot, and then all of a sudden, people quit covering it for some reason.
I don't know why. I don't know why, because it is a good song there. I guess it's about a French gal that Paul met, I guess.
I think so,
Yeah,
but it's definitely a Paul song.
definitely, yes.
You can tell that.
Yeah, absolutely. Usually when whoever sings the lead on the song is usually the one who wrote it. That's what I remember reading
Right.
and hearing
In
in
fact,
a radio show.
yeah, that's only a couple times that was not the case. But generally speaking, whoever sang lead wrote it.
Unless they got either Ringo to sing his song or George for some reason. But then again, George always sang his songs there.
Yeah, yeah. But again, the Stones were an interesting band. I didn't name anything fairly recent, but I do like the stuff. This is just kind of, again, this is my top.
Yep.
So if anybody disagrees, hey, that's cool. But I'd like to see a list in the comments if anybody's got their list, because it'd be interesting, because it's nice to kind of compare.
Right.
And you might mention a song that I forgot,
Oh, really?
because that could happen.
Wow, who knows? Yeah.
Or I might read your list and go, oh, what was I thinking? I forgot all about that song.
Yeah, that's true there. You know what? I'm thinking about this one song that I'm surprised didn't make any of the lists here. It's a song called Food or Cry. Came from an album called Black and Blue there. And I guess it's about,
Oh, yeah, that's a good song.
it is, yeah.
Of course, off that album, nah, I don't know. I was going to say hot stuff, but not really.
Yeah, well, Hot Stuff's a pretty good song there, and Crazy
Oh yeah,
Mama's a good one as well. I remember I had a compilation called Suckin' in the 70s, which was a greatest hits from some of their 70s material, and it was
right.
pretty good stuff there. Pretty
Yeah,
good stuff.
like I said, there are songs I didn't mention that are definitely good songs by them.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, Redneck. Some of the stuff you're mentioning, we covered. The Beach Boys we're gonna get to because we haven't got to that
Beatles,
phase
yeah.
of it yet.
Brednick, if you want
But
me to add to the call, let me know in the chat if you want me to add you, dude.
but yeah, we did top 10s and 15s of Elvis, Johnny,
Hmm.
and the Beatles. So yeah, we did those old shows, but hey,
Yeah,
they're still relevant.
absolutely, man.
Okay, next up we had the Who,
All right.
which I really enjoy a lot. And my first 15 are going to be the early years, which would be Tommy and before.
Yep.
Number 15 I got is Amazing Journey off of Tommy.
Ah,
And then number 14 is a album cut, a song called Disguises, which is a pretty neat little song too.
sounds good one there.
And number 13 is a Ant Whistle song, but Ant Whistle wrote strange stuff, and I like the song.
Wow.
It's a song called Whiskey Man.
Mm. You know, I remember there was a couple of Entwistle songs that I remember hearing, like it was called 508 from the Who Are You album, and the Quiet One from Face Dances there. You know, and
Oh, we'll be doing more Ant Whistle on this list.
yeah.
In fact, number 12 is another. I think Ant Whistle wrote this one. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Wow, that's interesting there.
And number 11, I got a song called Call Me Lightning.
I don't think I've heard that one before. Remember, these are tracks that are not played on the radio or I'm not aware of.
Well,
So,
actually, that was a single, but I don't think it got played in the States a lot.
no, this is the first time I heard of it. So, who knows?
And then number 10 is a song we discussed once before, but we'll talk about it again. Pictures of Lily.
Uh huh. Yeah, about jerking off, obviously.
Yeah. Uh, Neat little song to listen to, though.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Gosh, I can imagine going on Pornhub or X Hamster and seeing a music video of some people jerking off to that while that song is playing.
Yeah. But the Pictures of Lily made his wife so wonderful,
Oh, I know.
so.
Yep.
And number 9's Pinball Wizard.
Oh yeah, of course from the Who. Of course from
Yeah,
of course from the Tommy album. Meant to say, my bad.
and that's got a great opening little guitar thing going on, too.
Absolutely. Well, the acoustic guitar that is.
Yeah. Number 8's My Generation.
Oh yeah.
And again, on that song, I kind of prefer the live version off of Light of Leads.
I remember hearing
Because they
that.
really, really rock with that one. And they include a couple other things with it from Tommy.
Yes.
Amazing Journey and See Me, Feel Me.
Yep. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest songs out. That was probably the ultimate anti-aging song, you know. You know, basically what it
Yeah.
was, what I understand, Townsend was driving this car he had just purchased. They got a snobby look from some elderly woman who drove next to him at a stoplight, and I guess that pissed him off. So what he did, is, I guess he wrote that song as an FU to that person who did that to him.
Yeah. Yeah. And then number 7 I got is Happy Jack.
Great. So, you ever saw the video? Well, it wasn't called a video back then, but it was like it's called video now. But if you ever saw the original footage of that song where they're trying to break into a safe there and just goofing around at the same time.
Yeah. It's a cute, well, I say cute, but I don't mean cute. It's a neat little song.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of funny there.
Yeah. Number 6 I got I Can't Explain.
Yep.
Number 5 Magic Bus.
Oh
Which
yeah,
again, I
the
prefer
live,
the live version of
absolutely
Live at
same
Leeds.
here, man. Same here. That the live version from Live at Leeds had a lot more aggression added to it there.
Right, right. And then number 4, I got Substitute.
Oh yeah, great song there.
Me for Him.
Which is I guess is Townsend calling out some woman who was trying to get this guy to get him to be a substitute for another man that she was involved with, I guess.
Yeah. Number 3, I'm back to Ant Whistle.
Yep.
But this is another neat little song to me. Boris the Spider.
Oh yeah, we know that song just as well there.
Just something about that song that really appeals to me.
Yeah.
Number 2, I got We're Not Gonna Take It. See Me, Feel Me, whatever.
Yep.
Off of Tommy.
We're not. Yes, I know. You know, which kind of, when I first heard that, you know, it kind of. When you think about it now, this just came to mind. If we ever mentioned that the title of that song without mentioning the artist, were people going to assume that it's the Twisted Sister title because they're the same.
Right.
Yeah.
And then my number 1 song, and I've always liked it. I don't know why when it first came out, because it's just got that driving guitar in it, is I Can See for Miles.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing that.
It's just an awesome driving guitar in that song.
It was.
Yeah, see, we're Redneck Woods updating his Skype. Well, that might take some time.
I know there. Go ahead there.
I didn't say anything.
Okay, yeah, because I brought up this little article, and when you're done with your list there, I want to touch up on some of the regarding Keith Moon here, and some of that adultery said about him on the Howard Stern show that possibly that Keith Moon may have had autism, which kind of explained all the crazy shit that he did throughout the years with the Who there up until his death.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. All right.
Now,
Go ahead.
the later years. Excuse me. The
after
later
Tom,
years.
after Tommy, of course, when we
Right.
reached the 1970s.
Number 15, I got a song called Sister Disco.
From Who Are You? I remember that. And that was a pretty damn good song there. I like that one there.
Yeah, Goodbye, Sister Disco.
Which I guess was a anti-disco song, I guess it was.
Yeah, and there's a few of those floating around that are interesting. In fact, one that comes to mind just off the top of my head was one called Disco Phony by Sweet.
Can't stand that disco music.
Pain in my head.
You know what? I remember hearing a commercial for one of their albums, which that song was featured on. And this was back in 1979, you know. I guess the album was called A Cut Above the Rest, and they were playing tracks from it in this commercial. It's the new album, A Cut Above the Rest by Sweet. And I remember the line, can't stand that disco music.
Pain in my head, pain in my head.
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I like that song.
I know, yeah. Which is pretty much how the rock and roll genre felt about disco music at that time, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, because you remember that thing that happened at that baseball stadium where they took all these disco records and they blew them all up.
Oh, yeah, Bill Veeck in Chicago.
Yeah, and in fact, you know, all the people, and of course, all the disco artists and appreciators, like, oh, it's such a hateful thing to do. Well, here's the thing. You know, there were some disco songs that were pretty cool there, but the rest were just, you know, mixing oil with water. And you got to think about
Right.
this. A lot of rock bands that were playing the nightclub circuit had to be take a back seat to this disco music out there. And the same thing happened with the electronica, techno pop stuff like the Human League and Heaven 17 and the early
Right.
Ministry when it came out. Bands like Twisted Sister, they even stated that club owners had to push them aside for these particular groups because that was the thing that was trending at that time.
Yeah. Number 14, I got Who Are You, which is
Great.
also the theme for One of the CSIs.
CSIs. I think it was, yeah. Well, it fits to say that
I think it was for the Miami one.
I think it was in Miami was Won't Be Fooled Again. I think I may think have been the original CSI if I was clear about that.
Okay, that could be. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I just know that one was one was the other.
And it fits to say that CSI has the CSI franchise definitely put a new spectrum on the Who's music when you really look at it.
Right, right.
You know, if I had my choice, I would take the original footage from the Who Are You video and mix it in with scenes from the original CSI or whichever CSI that was the theme song for. And I would
Right.
mix all the footages together, you know, edit them, you know, bit by bit, you know, this scene going to the band in the studio, this scene going to this particular this scene from the series there, you know, it would be a good setup there. And I would also go for the album version, you know, the
Yeah.
album version, because the one in the original video was an edited version there.
Yeah, and that's one of the things again, which is a good idea for us to stress, is when we name these songs, look for the album versions because the single versions are cut up.
Yeah, absolutely, which always pissed me off, man.
Yeah, almost always prefer the album versions.
Yeah, because you get a lot more out of it, that's for sure.
Well, it has the whole meaning of the song, not just parts of it.
Yeah, which by the way, you know, another good example of this, the album version of Twilight Zone by Golden Earring.
Yeah. The album version is like about 7 minutes long, I believe,
I believe so.
and the other version is somewhat shorter.
Yeah,
And it's kind of like
the video and the single version there.
yeah, and it's kind of like their Radar Love.
Yeah, absolutely.
The single version's cut.
I remember hearing that at the old Kroger that I used to work at back in Richmond, Michigan in the early 2000s.
Yeah. Number 13 is Summertime Blues off of Live It Leads.
Absolutely. Well, probably
Another rock.
Oh yeah, another one which was done pure justice.
Yep. Number 12 I got off the same album is a song called Shakin' All Over.
Guess
which
who?
is actually
The Guess Who.
Right.
Yeah, the Guess Who cover there. Yeah, another good one there. I guess it fits to say that if there was a top 10 for live albums, most definitely Live at Leeds would probably be in the top 3 for me.
Oh, pretty easily, yeah. Another one that would be in the top 2 or 3 for me would be Pink Floyd Pulse.
Yeah. You know what? I got to check. I've listened to a couple of tracks from that album as well.
Actually, you watch the videos; those will blow you away. The show they put on is incredible.
Yeah.
In fact, one recommendation I'll make right now is look for "Comfortably Numb" off the Pulse tour.
Yes.
Watch that video because most people will tell you that the solo that David Gilmour does, the second solo,
Yes.
is possibly the best guitar solo ever, especially live.
Absolutely. You know, credit to Gilmour. Absolute credit to him because even though he's not a shredder, he can make that guitar of his sing like a bird.
I mean, you listen to it and you're just awed by what he does with it.
Absolutely.
And like you said, he's not shredding, he's not diddling, he's just playing great music
out of his heart. Like I said, you know, making it sing.
Right.
Absolutely, which he does pretty damn well.
Oh yeah. Number 11, I got The Real Me, which is off of
Quadrophenia. Yeah. Which I remember Wasp, the LA hair metal band, covered on one of their albums.
Yeah. Yeah. Number 10, I got Pure and Easy, which was off actually originally Pete Townshend's Project Lighthouse, but it's released as
Who's Next?
Yeah, it's an added cut to Who's Next.
On the reissue version.
That's a great little song too.
All right.
9, back to Entwistle. It's off of Who's Next? My Wife.
Interesting.
I don't know. It's just a neat little song, just like he does.
Ah,
Yeah, and as you hear this, you're going to figure out what my favorite Who album is.
yep.
A studio, actually.
Mhm.
Number 8 is Getting in Tune, which is also off that album.
Yeah.
Number 7 is Bargain off that album.
Oh yeah, another great song. I'm gonna win your heart no matter what. I guess what's the subject of that track there.
Number 6 is Song Is Over, which is
Great
again off that
song.
album.
Great song. Great song there.
Number 5 is Back to Quadrophenia, Love Reign Over Me.
Great one. Absolutely there.
Number 4, Back to Live at Leeds,
Mhm.
an Entwistle song. Heaven and Hell.
Ah, nice.
That's a great little rocker.
And that must have been
Actually,
that must have been included in the reissue version.
it
Which
is
came
in
out.
the reissue
Yeah, I
version.
think because I remember it was I think it was Young Man Blues, and I think it's a couple others, and the two tracks on
Right,
side two.
right. But that song, you kind of listen to it and you go, why'd they leave it off the original? Because they really, really rock on that one.
Yeah, but then
And like
again,
I said, it's an Entwistle song, and it's off of one of Entwistle did it on, I think, his My Size album.
ah, because I mean,
Was it My
I think one of the reasons why, there's a lot of, I guess that they could have put it out as a complete double album, the entire concert, but I
Oh,
think it
yeah.
would have been, but it all depends on the cost and what songs they feel should go on the album, what shouldn't.
Well, actually, the re-release is essentially that.
Yeah,
It's a lot bigger concert. And number 3, back to who's next? Baba O'Reilly.
oh yeah. Which we also mentioned, the title came from Alibaba, the guy who coined the phrase "Don't worry, be happy," and of course,
Right,
electronic musician Terry O'Reilly, who Townsend was listening to at that period.
right.
A lot of people used to call that song "Teenage Wasteland" because of the line "Teenage Wasteland" mentioned a few times in the song there.
Yeah. When I saw the Who in concert, they actually did that song
Yeah.
and were able to pull off that opening with, I don't even know what the instrument. I guess it's a mellotron. I'm not.
I think
No,
it's
it's not.
no, it's
It's
probably a
something else.
synthesizer. I'm thinking it is into a loop
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and they actually pulled that off, and I mean, the song sounded damn close to the
You would-
studio.
And no doubt, everybody when Townsend got out of the mic and did that bridge line,
Yeah,
everybody sang along out loud. No doubt.
yeah, yeah. Number 2, we're still on Who's Next, Behind Blue Eyes.
Great song there. Another one.
And of course, there's the atrocious cover by was
Limp
it Linkin
Bizkit,
Park?
Yeah,
Limp Bizkit, one of
yeah.
those
I know.
bands.
New metal groups out there. Yeah,
It
we
didn't
all.
even do the bridge.
I know. Well, I mean, we all know this. I know we harped on this a couple times on our program there, but come on, Fred Durst, you knew how to do a better cover than this. I mean, come on. And if I
Yeah.
understand, their version was for a Halle Berry movie. I guess it was called. What's the title of that movie? I guess there, a woman who's slowly going insane. I think it was.
Oh, heck, I don't know.
Uh,
I don't get into movies much other
Right.
than, back in the day when I used to be able to go to the theater easily.
mhm.
And my number 1 song
Mhm.
is off of Who's Next,
Yes.
Won't Get Fooled Again.
Yeah. It's called Gothica, the movie.
I mean, oh,
Yep.
yeah.
The movie, yes. And of course, who won't get food again, covered by Van Halen on one of their live shows there. And of course, the theme song for CSI Miami,
Right, right.
probably one of
Yeah, now
the
that I've been thinking about it, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's Miami's Won't Get Fooled Again.
yeah,
And the one in Las Vegas is Who Are You?
yeah.
And I'm sure the New York one used a song, but I have no idea what because I never saw that series.
Yeah.
And
saw it.
Redneck's right. He says Temptations had some great songs. Oh, yes, they did.
They did, yeah. A couple of them. Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Oh,
You know,
that was a fantastic song. And
absolutely.
again, the album version, it's about 6 minutes long and a lot better.
Yeah. And plus, just my imagination running away with me with, of course, the Stones covered for Some Girls, their album there.
And of course, their biggest one was My Girl.
Absolutely. Which, you remember, Daryl Hall and John Oates got David Ruffin and Eddie Hendricks to do at the Live at Apollo Theater, that album one time. And I guess it was a video footage of that, if I understand.
Probably. There's some YouTube videos that I've seen a few of that apparently Daryl Hall has some kind of restaurant or something that he invited various artists to, and they would jam.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of those, and they're actually pretty good.
Yeah. Now, this is something I wanted to get into pretty much here. I just got, and I heard this mention on the Howard Stern show from Roger Daltrey, the Who's frontman, who, by the way, is 74, by the way. He's wearing glasses now, and he doesn't throw his microphone around like he used to, even though it's still taped up. Now,
Yeah,
according
there's a whole
to
lot of things he doesn't do anymore, I'm sure.
yeah, absolutely there. And you don't see Townsend smashing any of his guitars anymore.
No.
You know, I guess they fell out of that stage there. You got to remember, it's kind of hard to see a 70-year-old man, bust a guitar like a 28-year-old.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Now, this is something but it was kind of. Now, many people would ask, what the fuck was up with Keith Moon? Why was he so crazy? What was he so whacked out about? Was it the drugs? Was it this? Or was it that? Well, apparently, according to Roger Daltrey, and he mentioned this on the Howard Stern show, that Keith Moon had autism. And anybody who knows an autistic relative or a friend of theirs, they've been known to do some really whacked out shit there. I know there was the kind where you just, do stupid stuff out of the blue there, whether it's, get on a TV show and pull it down your pants and reveal himself to everybody in the all crowd there. But,
Yeah. And the blowing up thing on the Smothers Brothers.
Oh, yeah, his drum kit there. Which, by the way, I guess I'm pretty much, Townsend, Daltrey, and a couple other, and Entwistle must have back there in the corner said, thanks a lot, you fucked up my hearing.
Yeah, in fact, I believe Townsend, that's part of his hearing problem.
Yeah, I know, it was. And he's often said that the drummer was terrifying. He said that Moon's drinking and drug use meant he often expected him to drop dead,
Yeah. Yeah, because he definitely overdid it.
God, it overdid. I mean, apparently what it was is that he took too much pills that he knew very little about, and
Right.
apparently he had, he was a heavy drinker as well. In fact, there was some outtakes of the "Who Are You" album cover, and a lot of times, some of the photos were not used was Who revealing his big pop belly because he did a lot of drinking there.
Yeah, it's probably the reason he sat behind that chair that was ironic.
Absolutely there. Now, Daltrey revealed that he and Pete Townsend were shocked when they found out that Moon did die at age 32. It was a booze and drug session at his London flat in 78. He could make you laugh, Daltrey said, until your sides would hurt. You would have to leave the room because you couldn't laugh anymore when he'd go off on one of his little things there. I don't know what it's called here. He had a language way beyond his education. He became kind of like a Noel Coward, Kit Lambert kind of character, incredibly eloquent and posh,
Yeah.
I mean, he did a lot of crazy ass shit there. And there was a good reason why all the hotels that they checked into were afraid of him.
Yeah, because he tore him up.
Absolutely there. I remember Alice Cooper telling this one crazy story about him, trapped in this hotel room, and he was able to get the hotel manager to help him.
Interesting.
Yep, and Moon, according to Daltrey, had no fear whatsoever. And in fact, but his brushes with death made it a lot more of a shock when he did die, believe it or not.
Yeah, that brush didn't apparently work.
Yeah, apparently it was, yeah. You know, I guess you could say, people say, oh, Jim Morrison lived on the edge. Fuck that. Keith Moon did that.
Oh yeah, Morrison kind of lived on a controlled edge.
Yeah. Keith Moon was just all out there, and his drumming just as well.
Yeah, that's what made his drumming so interesting. Because technically he wasn't a great drummer, but he was actually a great drummer because of what he did, not his technical skills.
Well, the way he would describe, or way to describe his drumming would be a ad lib in here, ad lib in there. He was one of the few drummers who very rarely used the hi hat. He often used the ride cymbal a lot more than he used that.
Yeah, he was an interesting drummer, let's say.
And there'll never be another one. That all the three great drummers are no longer with us, and that's the thing that bums all the drummers out there. Because we lost Neil Peart, we lost John Bonham, and we lost Keith Moon.
And you can actually add Ginger Baker to that list.
And Ginger Baker, he was another good one as well. Yeah.
And isn't Cozy Powell dead?
Yes, he did. Yeah, he was another great drummer. He worked with Tony Iommi's version of Black Sabbath, Rainbow, Whitesnake, and I guess a couple others as well.
Yeah, a lot of people consider him one of the top drummers out there too.
Yeah, he was.
But yeah, in my mind, John Bonham was number one.
Yeah.
But that's my own opinion.
Because according to Barack Obama, he played like his damn life depended on it.
Yeah, which is probably true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
This might be a good time to mention that the next time we do this, which of course depends on your schedule, we're going to get back into our journey.
Yes.
And we're going to, on the first one, we're going to do basically surf, hot rod, and instrumentals, mainly of the 60s.
Yeah.
We'll have a
like
top,
the Ventures.
We'll have a top list for the Beach Boys and Jan and Dean.
Mm-hmm.
And well, if I think of someone else out of that genre, but oddly, a lot of the hot rod type musicians had one or two hits, and that was it.
Yeah.
The ones like the Beach Boys that did surf and hot rod.
That's true there.
And other things that did, they went beyond surf and hot rod.
Yeah,
because obviously they covered pretty much whatever they felt like covering.
Yeah, they did.
They were kind of an all-encompassing band, and they're basically a lot. And I guess what we'll do beyond that will be the more mainstream 60s groups, which would be like Paul Revere, the Monkees, Grassroots, things of that nature.
Yes, absolutely, definitely.
And then from that, we'll get into garage bands, what's considered garage bands, and
or proto-punk.
And then some of the early psychedelia, and some of the early metal before metal. But the next one we'll do surf 60s and instrumentals, basically hot rod, all that from the 60s. And then after that we'll get into, I forgot what I said. Well, in that we'll do Beach Boys, Jan and Dean, and their top list. I think I've got 20 by the Beach Boys and 10 by Jan and Dean.
All right. Now, definitely be learning to know about Jan and Dean stuff there because, I don't really know much about the Jan and Dean catalog there. I remember it was a thing called Surf
Well, the
City.
interesting thing about them is that, they were basically good friends of the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
In fact, Brian Wilson gave them a song, I believe it was Surf City.
Yeah.
And his dad got mad about it because it was like, hey, that could have been one of yours. And, Brian Wilson's kind of like, hey, the guy's a friend. And he just gave him the song.
And that's the one with the line, 2 girls for every boy. if I'm
Right.
correct. Ah.
Right. Right.
All right, so definitely on our next episode, I have to find out what time I am available because of my job schedule. I have to find out which days I have off this coming week there. All right, so I'm going to get into this little subject here, and then Redneck, if you still want to join in after this the next subject, let me know in the chat here. But I want to get to something here that's kind of like I was reading about this, and in a lot of ways, I kind of relate to what Kim Kardashian is going through. Now, as you know, Kim Kardashian filed for divorce after 7 years of marriage from her husband, Kanye West. And
Right.
I guess, Kanye West has been known for a lot of years. He's a rapper, he's a producer. One of his songs I remember I heard featured a sample of King Crimson's 21st Century Schizoid Man. Look for the track Power by him, and you see what I'm talking about there. And apparently, the rapper's bid for office for the presidency and his explosive Twitter rants, often targeted at his wife and her family, were reportedly the final straw for Kim that made her realize she needed to end the marriage for the sake of both her kids and her own sanity. Now, according to the source close to page 6, Kim was really supportive of Kanye during the struggle with his mental health. And apparently he's supposed to be bipolar, for what I understand.
Oh
But she
wow.
knows she has to do the right thing for both, as I mentioned, her kids and her own sakes. A second
Yep.
source noted that she never came out and publicly and endorsed him. Her silence on those matters spoke very high volumes. Now, we all know Kanye has done a lot of crazy and said a lot of crazy shit throughout the years. We
Oh yeah.
cannot we cannot forget the time that during the European Video Awards show, some group from England won the best video for this song, which the name escapes me. Kanye gets on there. It's like, my video is a lot better. My video has a Pamela Anderson. He just bum rushed the stage, just took over, started ranting and raving. I was like, was he expected to win or what? And then
Well,
a couple,
he did the same thing in an American one with
yeah,
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift, yeah, he got tons and tons of heat for that, man. I mean, like even beyond, even he was sticking up for Beyonce. Beyonce's like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? In fact, a lot of people were upset at him. Like one of the, I mean, you couldn't help feel bad for Taylor Swift because she was out. When you look at it, she was humiliated. I mean, that was a very humiliating move. And
Oh yeah.
I'm sure on an episode of Saturday Night Live, which she was the guest host, um, her boyfriend at that time, Taylor Lautner, I guess, the guy with the stars of the Twilight Saga, he was doing some kickboxing to this figure, I guess, with Kanye's face plastered over it. I guess it was a direct shot at him for what he had did. And
Yeah.
when I'm talking about Kanye, I'm talking about that's what the hip hop press up and the radio used to refer to him as back in the day. It's like Chris Brown is Chris Breezy and all that shit there.
Right.
Yeah. Now the reason this kind of took me is because for about 3.5 years I was involved with a lady named Nancy up until her passing in 2001. She had a mental illness. And she had what they call a chemical imbalance. She was
Mm.
very scared of being around, crowds of people. If there was a big crowd at a concert, she'd be way far in the back. There was hardly any people there. Whenever we would go to a place like the flea market or a shopping mall there, she always tried to avoid it at every cost. And one time she conned me, to go into Myers. I'm going to go in the nearby Myers so I could check out some candles. I was like, are you ready to roll? No, just a minute, just a minute, just a minute, and blah, blah. And it's like, we stayed there for a damn half hour. And she's like, and I was pretty mad at her for this.
Oh yeah.
Because I wanted to head out to this particular place, and she's like, she basically pulled the rug underneath my feet, And she finally admitted it that the reason she was like that is because she got this tremendous fear. But even though it was not her fault. And you remember that Chihuahua, the Taco Bell commercials?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There was a big billboard advertising this particular Taco Bell item, and it had that a little dog up there with its mouth open, and she would get freaked out by that billboard for some reason. I said, well, just don't look at it, but it's hard to avoid, she would say, such and such, And she was always a demand. Whenever I said no to something, I don't want to do this. She always started her whining, her pouting. You don't want to do this. You want to do that. And finally, there were a lot of times where I just said, I'm like, why am I doing this for? Why am I involved with this woman? She's going to act this way, And there were a lot of. I'm thinking possibly Kim Kardashian was getting the same vibe from Kanye West.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. And the question is, a lot of times when somebody is involved with someone with a mental illness, it's not going to really last forever. Because there's going to be times where that individual is going to throw their hands up in the air and say, fuck it, I'm done with this cat. I'm done with this chick. They're driving me nuts. They're driving me up the damn wall.
Yeah, that's pretty good assessment.
And the question I want to ask anybody out there is, and Redneck, if you still want to be as I said, if you still want to be on the program, let me know and I'll add you to the call.
Something about giving him a call.
You want to give him a call?
He said something about giving him a call. Yeah, let's give him a call.
Okay, I will there. Okay, let's do this here.
Okay, and while you're doing that, oh gosh, next subject. Hey.
And the question.
Go ahead.
Okay. I should be calling him right now. And the thing that bothers me is that, coming from my experience with Nancy, and I'm sure a couple of people out there are experiencing this, have experienced the same thing. You're going to be like, I can't handle this. I mean, like, has anybody out there been involved with someone with a mental illness, whether it's just romantically or a friendship wise?
Well, kind of technically right now, my mother's 90, and she's a good, coherent person at one time, but something happened that has affected her mind.
Wow.
She's got dementia and Alzheimer's.
Dementia, my mom had the same thing.
She does stuff that just kind of like, what?
I know. I've been through the same route myself, man. And this was after
1 minute
Nancy
everything's
died.
fine, and the next minute everything's like,
bonkers. What up?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So what's up, Redneck?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just been busy plowing all day.
Doing work in with your farm there, right?
Plowing people's driveways
I see.
and companies,
the snow thing,
businesses.
The snow thing.
Yeah.
Make that extra beer pizza money,
Make that
Yeah,
pizza
we're not that
money.
familiar with snow.
Yeah. So
I see a lot of snow.
Yeah, I asked a Minnesota Vikings fan if he wanted to come on tonight's program and be a part of our discussion there, but he said he had a lot of shit to do, and probably him and Super Bowl Hunter are kind of occupied right now. And I was looking forward to getting other people on this program, whether it's Joe Cronin, Flamav Ken, possibly Tommy at C2010.
Yeah, just basically kind of contribute a little bit to, because I don't want to do all the lists by myself.
Yeah, I feel bad. I don't really come up with any list, but I work my ass off. It's and last night when I tried to come up with the top 20 of Beatles songs, it's hard to signify which one to put on which because they're all damn good.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's just kind of like, at that particular moment, how do I feel?
Yeah, and
it's not necessarily, because I could make those lists up again a week from now, and they'll be pretty much different. Not totally. But.
Yeah, but the weekend before when I was doing my top 5 Moody Blues albums. I was like, oh shit, I forgot Every Good Boy Deserves Favor. So we made it into a top 6 list there.
Yeah, because it's
Oh, okay.
sometimes, like I said, anybody listening to my list, you might hear a song and say, "How come you didn't mention that song?" Well,
I know.
maybe I didn't mention it because I didn't think of it.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem I usually have. It's
Right.
like, son of a bitch. So that's why I don't really do
There's
lists of
so
my
many.
own.
Yeah, there's so many out there. That's the thing. It's like so many
Yeah.
good songs out there. You just pick what you're going by right away type deal too. You know.
Yes.
Well, that's why in
Um,
the big groups I kind of divvied them up into early and late, because a lot of times their
Yeah.
style changes.
Yeah.
You know, so they're kind of like different songs. But I guess everyone noticed on my Who list that I pretty much had almost all
Oh
of
yeah,
those
the
last
Who.
in my top. Who's next to my top 10? I think my top 5 were off that album.
Yeah.
It's easy to tell
Yeah.
that's my favorite Who album.
All right.
Oh, I love all the 70s, 60s, even in the 50s, all the rock out there. To me, I'm not. I don't really pay attention a whole lot on who sings and all that, just because I'm just enjoying the music.
Oh yeah, well that's kind of one
If
of the
I
reasons.
hear something that's good, I love it, and I just haven't been able to, especially. Okay, I named off some, you know, some bands here and there on the chat, but there's a whole shitload more. But
Yeah,
on
that's
top
kind of
of
one of
it,
the reasons that.
songs. There's so many songs.
Well, it's kind of one of the reasons Dr. Earl and I decided to do this was kind of help people
Especially
see
the
some
Yeah.
of this.
yeah, especially the people of today because they only know the radio hits, and they
Yeah,
only
and a lot
and a
of
lot of
times,
Yeah,
bands don't
and
really
you
know.
know what? I record my own fucking music, so then I listen to when I'm going down the road.
Ah,
oh yeah,
yeah,
oh yeah,
I can't stand what's out on the radio anymore.
I know.
It's
You're not the
horseshit.
only one. You're not the only one.
All
It's
the
like
remixes.
yeah. I can't even find a regular station. I mean, there's some on Sirius that are good, but I can't even find a regular station on the dial that's worth listening to because they just play, like you said, garbage. Even our local
Yeah,
oldies.
and where I'm at, every station except one station. Every station they play country music, but it's the new country.
yeah,
Right.
Okay,
the pretty boy country.
one
Yeah.
station, one station they call it classic rock. What, 5 years ago?
Oh, yeah. Nowadays it's Motley Crue and Guns.
It's horrible.
I know. Nowadays, classic rock is now Motley Crue, or it's old Sammy Hagar, or Loverboy. Whereas the classic rock that we originally remembered was Derek and the Dynamos and Cream. There.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Rolling
mean,
Stones.
to me, Motley Crue would be classic rock to me because
Yeah.
my age. I mean, I'm 35, so, but
Oh,
Wow.
dude. I'm
I
in my
look at it.
50s, man.
I'm double your age.
Yeah.
I look at it though. I have an old soul, so I love my older music though versus from the early '90s. I mean, I love the early '90s to all the way back to the '50s. I love that. Anything else
Yep.
nowadays? Fuck.
Yeah.
We might as well shit on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's horrible. It's disgusting. It's like,
Well,
no.
it's corporate music basically.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just basically whatever they think the kids are going to buy.
But yeah, it's that assumption out there. Let's put it out there. Who cares that the lyrics are meaningless? If it sells, it sells. So that's the main thing there.
Yeah, 13-year-old girl doesn't
It's
care.
all corporation. And I hated the first time I heard was it goddamn knock knock on heaven's door from a gal singing it, and I'm sitting there, oh fuck no.
Which gal? Which gal was it? Which gal you talking about?
I don't know her name offhand, but I do have it on an iPod that literally I played Knock Knock Heaven's Door, the original, and
by Bob Dylan.
Suddenly,
yeah, Dylan's his classic.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Eric Clapton does a pretty good version of it.
Bob Dylan. Oh God, yeah. But it's just a matter of who literally this girl. I mean, literally, she even on my iPod, she says she's only like 17 at the time, and I gotta do more research on that because I've been kind of skipping through whatever, because once she is like, oh, this is knock knock on heaven's door, my version, and I'm like, oh, skip.
It's kind of like
she announced it.
It's kind of like Madonna covering American Pie.
Oh,
what?
God, yes, I remember that. That was horrible. Horrible.
That was, oh, God.
Yeah, can you do any worse?
Oh, God. But then again, we already discussed worse earlier on.
Yeah, that was the thing about, I mentioned earlier, I didn't know if you heard it or not, actually last episode. I think it was Faith Hill covering "Piece of My Heart" by Janis Joplin.
Oh gosh!
Like, what? It's a.
Was it Faith Hill?
No, wait. It was a country singer, but who's the one that was married to McGraw?
That is Faith Hill. That's her.
Oh,
yeah.
I think it was her.
I guess, yeah.
It was a country female artist.
Yeah.
And I don't know them that well.
Yeah.
One of them covered "Piece of My Heart," and I'd heard that, and it was like, oh, you're singing it like it's, I don't know, like it's some kind of bouncy little ballad. It's not what that song is.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
no.
sorry. The only one.
You know the. Oh, go ahead.
And
Doctor.
well, the thing is, the only one I did about who did came close to the original was Melissa Etheridge, and that was on the TV show I remember seeing back around 93, 94 there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a song that, well, we talked about where you can hear the emotion.
Yep.
And in that song, the way she sings it, there's just a ton of emotion in that song.
Yep.
And it's pretty hard to cover it. It's kind of like Lennon. It's kind of like Lennon doing "Mother." Whenever you hear that song, you can just hear the emotion and anguish. The anguish in his voice when he sings that song.
Yeah.
Just the absolute pain.
Well, like, I mean, that drove me nuts with "Knock Knock on Heaven's Door." That girl doing. I'll figure out who it is. I didn't really look on iPod because it's hooked up to stereo. So
I think it was Faith Hill because she's married, as you mentioned, to Tim McGraw. So I'm thinking it's her, definitely.
It might have been her that covered that song. I don't remember. But it was a country artist. I just don't remember which one.
Let me look at it for you.
Yeah. How about all the remixes on other country songs? I'm sorry.
A lot of the remixes are bad too. Yeah.
How about mile marker 203. We sure hate to break down here with Trace Actons and the original songs from, was it from Sheryl Crow? No, not Sheryl Crow, but, God, the original song came from a gal, and next thing he did a remake on that himself back in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And I'd rather listen to him sing it than the gal because
Yeah.
By the
I
way,
have troubles with type.
By the way, Sheryl Crow needs a foot up her ass, for trying to cover "Sweet Child of Mine."
Yeah.
She did a terrible version of it. Oh gosh, that was horrific.
That was bad. That was bad.
Or Bonnie Raitt doing you got it from Roy Orbison.
Yeah, because I don't think anybody can top the Roy Orbison version.
No, the thing is, that's the thing, they get these female artists to do some old rock standards for all these stupid chick flicks around it, which was big around the 1990s there. And that's the thing that give us a break.
Oh.
Give us a damn break.
Yep.
And that's
I mean, okay.
If you're going to
Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow doing Pitcher.
Oh gosh, I never liked that song.
I don't mind the song, but it's the thing is the original song,
Yeah.
A lot of people don't really know about the original.
Different.
I know. A lot of people don't really know about the original version of "What About Love." It was referred before Hard covered it in 1985. It was done by a Toronto-based band simply called Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people didn't really know about it.
I know about it.
A lot of people don't know certain songs are covers. Until it's kind of like, oh, that's a cover?
Yeah.
Yeah. The same thing with Nirvana doing "The Man Who Sold the World," the David Bowie song there.
Yeah.
And by the way, it was indeed Faith Hill who did her somewhat version of "Piece of My Heart."
Like I said, it sounds like it's just she's singing words on a piece of paper.
Taylor Swift did a lot of shit.
Well, basically, as I pointed it out last night, her voice was kind of nicey, where Joplin was like a
Yeah, and that's what needed to be for that song.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just songs that certain people should sing, no one else should touch.
Absolutely there, and that's the thing, But then again, record companies often get the artists to do these covers, just to see if they could get the audience's attention there, blah, 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 and all that jazz.
Right.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
And then if you're going to do it in cover...
Well, nowadays they talk... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, nowadays, the way I look at a cover song, well, actually, this is always the way I look at a cover song, was either innovate on it, make it your own, improve on it, or at least be like it. Don't get onto some kind of, I don't know what kind of kick you get onto, because sometimes cover songs are better than the originals. It happens.
Oh, yeah.
Vanilla Fudge,
sometimes,
you keep me hanging on.
Oh, yeah, that was a badass cover right there, man. That had a lot of emotion in that one.
Yeah, they actually...
A lot more angrier emotion in that version there.
Yeah, they actually sounded the way the song should have sounded.
Absolutely there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I just think it's crazy, though. It's just with music these days. I'm just like, oh, my God. What happened here?
Yeah. Well, we'll get to Vanilla Fudge.
Listen to any radio station. No radio station. No. I have to sit there and Bluetooth my phone and have recordings on going because I can't stand it anymore.
Wow.
It's just that bad.
No.
My car
to me,
doesn't have
at least.
My car doesn't have a CD player. I actually can play flash drives, so I throw them all on a flash drive, and I can fit 2,000 songs on a flash drive.
I'm hoping to get me a car with that
Oh
still has a
yeah.
tape deck, so I can put an adapter in, so I can hook up my phone and my MP3s to.
Yeah.
Oh, I want the 8-track. I got a bunch of 8-tracks.
Wow,
Oh, I
wow,
did.
holy
Man, I had a
shit,
ton
damn.
of those things.
Wow.
I got well over 208 tracks, so I'm like, man,
Those are collector's items.
they
Yeah, I
are,
was in
and
that.
they're in good shape.
Yeah, I was in that
So,
area too. In fact, I actually had an 8-track recorder, so I'd make my own.
mhm. Well, yeah, well, when I grew up, my old man, he had this expensive system. It was where you could play any size record on, and then on top of it, you could do an 8-track, and you could do recordings on records and also on 8 tracks, and it was
Oh,
just
wow.
crazy. Yeah, we I grew up. Okay, my high school during parties, I didn't throw out. Okay, my high school years was early 2000s,
Yep.
and I'm sitting there fucking playing records and 8 tracks, and everyone's just having a hell of. I mean, small country town, so we're sitting there fucking loving country in the past, and also loving our classic rock at the
Oh, yeah.
time too. I mean, we were just loving it from the 50s all the way up to the early 90s. It was
Yep.
iffy, but and then we did recordings of shit on 8 tracks or records, and yeah, they didn't turn out very well. We all sound like shit,
Uh-huh.
but we tried.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, and all he had was, I mean, center console with the whole unit, and then 2 big stand-up speakers that were on the side, and that shit, you could play a record in it from the 60s, and it would sit there and fucking knock glass out off the counters. How bad the bass would go and all that, and how clear it was and shit if you
Oh,
blare it. And
Wow.
it was awesome. I was just like, this is pretty damn cool,
Oh,
My
wow.
brother and I, we dealt with some hardcore music off that more than anything. Every party we did, it was always, well, let's just use this versus hell, we had boom boxes and all that shit, but
Oh, yeah,
fuck
we
it.
did. Yeah.
Use something that's gonna be worth it. It'll shake, like literally. You could be it sat downstairs. You could be upstairs, and you feel the vibration on the floor on your feet through your legs.
oh, wow.
Off the 2 speakers.
It would be,
I mean, it was a good system.
It'd be really was interesting. Back at the Leland City Club, where throughout the '90s, we used to whenever we needed a back massage, you would stand right, put that back so right up against the speaker, and the boom for the bass from the speaker would just help you out right there.
Right.
Yep, I done that. I done that a few times at some concerts I've been to. Like, I had VIP, and I was able to go back and do whatever. And I'm like, I was having troubles with my back, fuck, I went right against the speaker and just.
Boom.
Oh, dude, it felt so good. I was like, feeling like a noodle. I'm like, awesome. I love it. And that, I couldn't believe it for doing a record or even 8-track.
Wow.
How those speakers, how old they were. I mean, how old the whole thing was. I mean, it was over 45 years old and sat there and fucking just shook the house. And we had a big 5-bedroom house and all that. I mean, it was just, we had a big house and it was just fucked up. And
Dude, the big thing at that time in my teenage years were cassettes.
My teenage years.
Oh yeah.
It was basically records. 8-tracks hadn't even come out yet.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that was the same thing with me until I discovered the cassette. I remember the very first cassette I actually bought from the store was Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, the AC/DC album. There.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, no, during.
Well, when did that
ahead.
song in there called Big Balls or something like that? That was good.
Yep, it was. That was it.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've heard any AC/DC, but I remember those two.
Yeah, I remember it. In fact.
Yeah, I put that in the chat. I'm like, AC/DC.
I remember I saw that as well.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 cassette tapes that were. I have the number 1 cassette tape that was made of Elvis's.
Oh wow.
Alice's
recording, and then I have Ozzy Osbourne number 1 cassette tape. And I'm sitting there like, yep, that's sitting there. I could put them in cassette player, and yep, just like a cassette tape. It works great. Clear as day and everything. And no messed up or anything. Even after sitting, I just sit there like, yeah, I want to listen to this. A year later, boom, put it in. Yeah, I dealt with a lot of cassette tapes.
Dude,
growing up, and then CD was late 90s.
Yeah,
my first CD. I didn't even have a CD player at that time. I'm sitting there like, what am I gonna do?
Oh heck, I didn't.
I remember what my first CD was, and I think it was Jimi Hendrix. Are You Experienced?
Actually, my first CD, my very first CD that was actually it was given to me at a place called the Ritz in Roseville, Michigan. It was by a band called Surreal, and I forgot the title of it, but the singer for that band was also the DJ for Z-Rock,
Surreal.
the Detroit affiliation, affiliate from there. And who could not forget Z-Rock?
Yeah, I think my first 8-track was Chicago Transit Authority.
Oh yeah,
I had a
first
phone
album.
call. Well, my first CD was what the hell was it? I think if I remember right, because I ended up with like 2 or 3 CDs in 1 year during Christmas, and I'm sitting there like, I have nothing to play them with. But the first one that I opened up was it was, I want to say it had to been an Elvis one.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
I sat there like, okay, well, I got the first cassette, number one, okay, but then I know I had an Elvis one, and then I had Beatles, and then I had, I want to say it was, let's see, I don't have that third one anymore. So main reason is after moving so many years and shit,
Wow.
and I hang on to, but I can't remember the third one offhand. I know the third one was going to be something later though, and which would have came up with, but I sit there like, okay, now I got a CD of the first cassette, but I got the cassette. And then also I got the record because my old man.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man.
So how do you feel,
I
Serendic?
love it though.
So, Rendick, how you feel about vinyl coming back?
I love it.
All right, because right now, instead of CDs
I
at
don't
the
give a
nearby Walmarts here, there's a lot of vinyl albums, including the new AC/DC, a lot of country artists, a lot of reissues as well.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, okay, my buddy and we were big into vinyls even throughout high school because, well, knowing that my buddy got intrigued because knowing what my dad had,
Wow.
and every time doing a party, freaking good music and shit, and he ended up buying a record player, but a smaller one. He couldn't find one like
I had one of those
what
as
I
well.
did. And yeah, him and I would go to, there's like in Minnesota over towards Maplewood, one, not in the mall part, but separate, whatever. There's an actual little strip mall on the other side of the mall that strictly all for records.
Wow.
And
We have
him
one
and I
here.
would go in there and buy.
Actually, we have
And
there's a record.
I still.
There's a record store in the Old Town Spring area that I've yet to go back to. It's been a while. I tried to check out the last time I was there, but it was all closed up. It was called Space City Audio.
Huh.
I gotta check that place out
No,
once again
okay.
if it's open there, because it was closed on that Sunday when they made that video.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely, like, they opened up back in, I want to say 2004,
Yeah.
around there, 2005, and we went there picking up all these records. I mean, I got a lot of records still, but now I don't have the player anymore. I don't.
I got the player, but I
After
don't have
my
the
dad
records.
passed away, yeah, I got the records, and it's like, hell, they were selling them so cheap. I mean, even shit that should be worth a lot of money, like $50 or $75, they were selling for $2 or $3. And I'm like, fuck. I know this is the number one fucking record for this and that and all that. So uh, I I I know what's good and stuff, and so did my buddy, and yeah, we got them cheap as hell. So he's got records, I got records. He's got a small little player, but it's a newer player, and I'm sitting there like, fuck. I I wish I had my dad's player, but
Hmm.
what happened towards the end?
Yeah.
Well, just before my dad passed away, like 3 years beforehand, he had a flood situation and the damn thing got wrecked.
Mm.
Wow. Wow,
So
man.
yeah, nice. I mean, for years the damn thing worked. Never had to do a damn thing to it. It just worked every time. No tuning or anything. It was awesome, and it was just like, yep, a flood took it. And
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
fuck, I want to find that same system, but I can't find it anywhere.
Wow.
I can't find it. And
Maybe you should look on
before
Google.
I play records, oh, I've been searching. I've been searching for 10 years since my dad passed away.
Wow.
So
Mm.
yeah, I've been searching because
What do you mean? Yeah.
I want that record. You know, the record player, cassette tape, and everything. You could. It's a combo setup, and you could do whatever you want. Record, and the speakers alone sit there and fucking. I don't get it. Fucking. They're only about, I'd say, three, almost 3 feet high on height,
Mm.
and then they're about a foot and a half wide. Just two speakers that originally came with this record
Hmm.
station all the way. I mean, he paid $600 for the whole thing back in the '60s,
Yeah.
so early '60s. So that's a lot of money. $600 early '60s for someone that was
Yeah.
dealing with college, well, middle of college and a college type deal.
Mm.
Yeah.
But yeah, that it was crazy. I sit there like I wish I could find the same system before I play these records because they're not gonna on my buddy with his newer record player.
Yeah.
Yeah, it don't play right.
Yeah. Yeah. I
it
should definitely bring it up to about the
don't
attention
play
there.
right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, I pretty much. All right. I think it's probably time, to get off the air pretty soon because I know Drew's about to head do
Yeah.
derailed news and podcasts in about 10 minutes there, and we don't want to take up his time there. And I think we pretty much covered the subject that we all talked about, and I pretty much discussed my little thing there. So, Redneck, I want to bring this up next time I go live with the Minnesotas there with you guys. could
Yep.
you be able to be involved romantically with someone with a mental illness, whether it's bipolar, schizophrenia, ADHD, ADD, autism, any of that?
I already have with bipolar. I've been in relationships with women that in different situations, but I don't care. But in ways, some can be schizo.
Yeah, that's the thing
I
with
dealt
mental.
with some that are schizo.
That's the thing with being involved with someone with who's mentally ill. You never know what's going to happen. They could be fine in 1 minute, and the next thing you know, boom, they get snapped at the last minute there. And that has happened a couple of times with me and
Well,
Nancy there.
I dealt with relationships where next thing I'm working, and next thing I come home, and then we're living together type thing because we've been together
Yeah.
for quite a few
All right.
years, and yeah.
All right.
Next thing you walk in and suddenly get off work and walk in and there's two guys fucking her, so
Oh, really?
cheater. Yep.
Huh.
I dealt with that and I fucking did the boot and they're lucky I didn't have my gun on them either. I didn't have a gun on me at the moment, but I dealt with that. So trustworthy for women. Well, guess what? They're always whores when they sit there and want to make the money off the government by you fucking them and making the money and
Getting them pregnant. We
popping
also.
babies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're not really talking about. Well, there were a
I
lot.
yeah.
Well, basically, we're talking about the ones who don't really want kids, but yet, however, they have this mental illness, but yet, however,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
it's
I know.
yeah. So it's kind
I
of
mean, it varies. Okay, I dealt with
yeah,
some that were disabled, and
mentally,
I tell you what, yeah.
yeah. Like I said, when did he say?
But I wasn't sitting there being a bad guy about or anything because everything was going good, but they just decided, yeah, they changed their mind. That's the thing.
Yeah. All right.
Quick change.
All right.
Boom.
So we're about
Like,
to
what?
end right there. We're about to end the show pretty much here, as I said, because Drew's about to come on the air, do his program there. Are you going to be on Real as Fuck TV this coming Thursday night?
Well, I'm open, so now my Skype's been okay now.
Yeah, it is. We hear you loud and clear,
You
dude.
know.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So
I know the last 2 weeks the damn thing wouldn't even let me dial or anything. I'm sitting there like, what the fuck?
all right. So okay. Well, we let Silver Row and Vikings fan let them know that you'll possibly be on their program. And of course, I'll join in when I get done from work. I get done at the same time as I did last Thursday at 6 p.m. So I should probably be calling in probably around the second hour, I guess. All right then. Okay. Okay.
All right.
I'm going to let you go, okay, Redneck, and that's about it. Thanks for coming, being part of our show, okay, man?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, definitely.
Yep. You guys have a good night.
All right, you too, dudes. All right.
All right.
Yep.
The mighty Redneck, ladies and gentlemen, from Real as Fuck TV. And I guess that'll be it for this evening here of our episode 23, I should say, of our Music Memory series there. And, next time I have a day off, I'll definitely get a hold of you. Definitely, Arkeith.